everybody, and welcome to the show. We are on the road still today, out doing what we do, fighting bad guys, getting things moving. And there's a lot of work to be done. We're kind of, I'm all over the country all the time, and we're fighting the good fight, doing everything we can. And but listen, I want to get out here and make sure that we're still talking, because it's critical that we keep getting the word out about what's happening. It's not enough to just do the work. We have to also get other people involved. We need your help. We need your support. We need you guys sharing. We need you active. So I got to make sure that I'm talking to you guys about what's going on and keeping you up to date on it, because we're fighting. But this is a thing where we cannot win this alone. We have to create a situation where laws are changing, where things are shifting around the country, and that can't happen with one person. So anyways, lots happening. I want to hit a few key topics. We're going to have a short show today. We're going to talk about the election, shellacking, which is what we had. We're going to talk about if I can, I'm going to get into some of the tariff stuff, the Supreme Court argument on the tariffs. But I really want to talk about the fact that parents do not have a right to their children in many cases. You actually can lose your kids. And Texas just passed a constitutional amendment that I think is going to make it worse. So we're going to talk about that. Lots of crazy stuff happening. Before I do, remember, we got to have your support. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. I spent probably 2 hours this morning working on some medical kidnapping stuff. Nobody pays for that, right? There's nobody gets a bill for that. They steal some parent's kid. What are you going to do? Charge them? No, you can't charge them. You just help out however you can. So we try and do that. However we can. And so, but we need your support so I can keep doing this work. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. Become a monthly supporter, yearly supporter, just one-time support. Anything you can give, we're grateful for. But please support us. GiveSendGo.com/RensLaw. Also, go to TomRens.com, www.TomRens.com. Support us there. Share TomRens.com. Check out the website. Check out the podcast. Check out everything that's there. And importantly, go to shop and check partners and affiliates. When you shop our partners and affiliates, you're supporting our work. Everything you buy from our sponsors, we get a little bit off of that. So it's a big thing. And I want to really focus. I've been really pushing. I'm going to keep pushing. The war on testosterone and the war on men is real. There's a reason you can't find any real men anymore. I feel like I'm going extinct. I feel like my species is going extinct. There's a lot of beta wussies out there, but there ain't a whole lot of men anymore. We need to get our testosterone levels back. The bad guys knew a long time ago, drop testosterone, make men less manly. So one of the best ways to do that is through Men's Hormone Support by Global Healing. You see it right at the top of the page. Men's Hormone Support is a great product, and it will help detox. It'll help naturally raise testosterone levels. It's not a steroid. It's not a testosterone replacement. It's a bunch of natural products, extracts, things like that put together in a very Global Healing, right? It's the best product line on the market. I'm partnering with them on this. And what you need to do, ladies, get it to your men. You'll appreciate it if you know what I mean. I don't want to get out of our family show, so I don't want to get into that. But listen, it has a big impact. You need to use you should start out, the recommended dose about 2 droppers a day. I like for the first month, use like 8 droppers a day, then to 6 after a couple months, then to 4 after a couple months. Then you can maintain between 2 and 4 droppers a day. But if you really want to get maximum benefit, you got to use a little extra. It will have a big impact. If you use it and you use it right, it will have a big impact on you, a measurable impact, more muscle, more energy, less fatigue. Wonderful product. I love the stuff. Men's Hormone Support from Global Healing. All right, let's get into some important stuff. So under the U.S., under federal law, the Supreme Court has held that there is a legitimate interest in protecting children. And we're okay with that. I mean, we realize that that's a real thing. We don't want people to be able to abuse, neglect, murder, enslave children. We want to protect it, right? So the law has to protect against abuse. One form of abuse is neglect. Neglect can take a lot of forms, including medical neglect, right? Your kid's sick and you don't take him to the doctor because you don't care. Your kid you're physically abusing your kid. Maybe you break a bone. You don't want to take the kid to the doctor to get that bone fixed because then the doctor's going to know you abuse your child. So medical neglect is a real thing and it can happen. Here's the problem, right? So under the U.S., the Supreme Court of the United States there's a whole bunch of law out there recognizing medical neglect as a thing. And in an instance of medical neglect, Child Protective Services can come in and take your child. They can take custody of your child. And depending on the situation, and it varies a little bit by state, but pretty much any state in the union, if Child Services feels like there's medical neglect, they can go to a judge and they can have an emergency hearing. And sometimes that hearing can even be what's called ex parte. Ex parte means without you being there, without the other party being there. So imagine this. Imagine, an evil person's abusing their kid and, they're not taking care of their kid. And a good Child Protective Service worker goes and says, hey, judge, we need to get this kid out of there. We don't want to tip off the parents because if we do, they might abuse the kid further, put the kid at risk. So we need to get this kid out of there. Can we get an emergency order? Judge says, what's your evidence? Okay, we'll do that, right? So they take the kid out. That's a good use of this. And when that happens, it's a good thing. Here's the problem. Now imagine a situation where Child Protective Services gets paid extra money when a child is in their custody. Now that's true. That's the way it is, right? So when children are in the custody of CPS generally gets extra money for that. So now imagine a corrupt CPS worker wants to support more children being in custody. And imagine a doctor is treating a child and the doctor's stuff isn't working. Think maybe, let's take the kid in North Carolina, the doctor, Preston, the child down in Oklahoma. He goes to the doctor, they try the chemo, they try this, they try that on his cancer. It doesn't work, right? It's just not working. So then imagine mom says, well, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Let's try something else that's not working. So they take the kid off of the $1 million chemo treatment. They put him on something with, say a naturopath, a natural doctor. Well, the regular doctor is mad because he's no longer getting his $1 million chemo sales. So he calls CPS and says, hey, they're not taking care of their child because they're taking him to this wacky naturopath instead of my chemo treatments, which we now know don't work. Well, the judge hears the doctor saying that it's medically necessary. They've got the corrupt Child Protective Services saying it's medically necessary. And so the judge says, oh, yeah, take the kid away from the parents. So you end up with your child taken from you, your sick child taken from you. You don't know what's happening. And then your TRO hearing lasts, you got about 24 to 48 hours to respond. So you got to find a lawyer who understands it and can do something about that within 24 to 48 hours, or you're losing your kid for weeks at a time, maybe longer. And while the kid's under state custody, he's going to be getting whatever sort of horrible medical treatment that these insane doctors want to give him, whatever vaccines the doctors want to give him, going to give him all these sorts of things. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. That's the situation. And it happens over and over again. The law was well-meaning. It was meant to protect kids in abuse situations, but it's been abused by corrupt doctors, corrupt child services, and the pharmaceutical industry to promote their ideals. Now, this is a disaster, and it's happening all over the country. It is a very, very bad situation. And it's something that honestly is terrifying. If you're a parent, this should terrify you, because it can happen to you. You may not think it can, but it can. So let's talk about Texas. So Texas decides to create a parental rights amendment to the Constitution. And that sounds great, right? Because when you hear this, it's like, wait a second. The state can take my kid because I don't want to give them medicine they want to give them? That's horrible. We need parental rights. And they're right. So the state puts together this amendment that says parental rights. Here's the problem. This very short amendment enshrines the fact that parents have a responsibility to, quote, protect and nurture their children, unquote, right? Protect and nurture. Well, what does protect and nurture mean? Unfortunately, this amendment doesn't tell you what it means. So you've got this thing that looks like it's there to protect parental rights, but we were told that the COVID vaccines were necessary to protect your children, weren't we? We're told that all vaccines are necessary to protect your children. Now, under that Texas law, can they take your children now if you don't vaccinate? They will be able to if the courts decide that. The courts are going to have to interpret what protect means and nurture. They're going to have to decide, what if you don't want to send your kid to school? What if you want to homeschool? Well, are you nurturing your child? Well, I don't know under the new Texas amendment. It's hard to say because we don't know what protect and nurture means. This amendment could have gotten rid of homeschooling. It could have gotten rid of medical freedom. This may well be misused in some of the most egregious ways possible. This is a horrible amendment, folks, and it passed. It's now it's part of the Texas Constitution. This may be one of the most profoundly impactful things to occur in the country, and it happened in Texas because they lied and said this was about protecting parental rights, but they did so in a way where clever, evil lawyers can manipulate this to push a pro-pharma agenda and push all sorts of other things. This is one of the most dangerous and terrifying things to occur in our country in centuries, if you believe in parents and families and kids. This is incredibly bad, folks. And I'm terrified on it because the words nurture and protect are not defined. And absolutely, we've seen medical doctors and others make the argument that, well, you got to have your vaccines to protect the kids from. Well, I don't want to vaccinate my kids. They're not safe. They're not effective. They're not anything else. This law may allow someone to take my children from me because I choose not to vaccinate. It may allow them to take my children from me because I choose to homeschool. Now, I send my kids to school. My kids go to school, but I've got them going to a very good school that's, I've checked out. It's a private school. I wouldn't send my kids to public schools. They're terrible. I would homeschool before I send my kids to public school, probably. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because sometimes you just can't homeschool. But anyways, this is a disastrous situation, and it happened in Texas. And we've got to watch because this is happening around the country. We have a lot of bills being pushed at the state level that are designed to look like they're protecting MAGA Maha rights, but actually will undermine them. This constitutional amendment in Texas is a disaster, and I'm blowing the alarm on it right now because it's critical and it's going to be coming around the country. We've got to talk about this. We've got to make sure people see so that this doesn't pass in another state. All right. I want to hit a couple other things. Speaking of the election, flash, we got shellacked. Mega Maha shellacked, right? You got a communist, arguably an Islamic nutbag communist as mayor of New York City. Are you kidding? Clean sweep in Virginia. California, we lost 3. We're going to lose 5 seats there. I mean, we got shellacked. It was bad. Now, I keep seeing these people, are you tired of winning? Yeah. What are we winning? Mega Maha is pissed. And I'm sorry for all of you influencers that are sold out and are basically getting paid to lie about other people and tell everybody that everybody's happy. Mega is not happy. Maha is not happy. Trump ain't doing it. I'm sorry. I love Trump. I'm supporting Trump. But he's got Pam Bondi, Susie Wiles, and a whole bunch of other crooks around him that are not getting it done. These are not people who are doing the job that MAGA elected them to do. We still have mRNA on the market. We're developing more mRNA. We just approved saRNA in pets. We're doing all sorts of stupid things. Instead of fixing SNAP, we're working on getting it back fully. The budget is going to be a bloated disaster. And instead of saying, hey, thanks, Massey, for having the courage to say it, you got Trump going after guys like Massey. Are you kidding me? I understand Massey's frustrating because he doesn't tote the line, but I appreciate that he doesn't tote the line. Meanwhile, we're supporting and funding all sorts of interests around the world that are, far, far, far less. Listen, I don't want to fund foreign wars. I don't care what country it's for. I don't mind some foreign aid on a limited level as long as our budget's balanced. If you balance our budget and you've got some room for foreign aid, that's fine. I don't want us spending more than we have. We don't need this big of a government. We don't need all this corruption. That's all it is. Eliminate the corruption, we can balance the budget. But we won't do that. Massey's got a point, and I appreciate that he stands on principle. Now you got people bitching about MTG. I like MTG. I'm sorry, I like her. She does a good job. Massey and MTG are both speaking up, but because they're not toting the line, they're getting just eviscerated. And it's bullcrap. We are going to lose this midterm because we are getting led down a path that doesn't work. MAGA does not care about what you say. We care about what you do. And MAGA, the coalition that made Donald Trump president, is not supporting this. We don't support funding Benjamin Netanyahu. I think people support Israel. I support Israel, but not Benjamin Netanyahu. The guy funded Hamas and then started a war that he wanted us to pay for and fight. I don't want to do that. Yeah, listen, I support Israel. I support the Jewish people. Get rid of Netanyahu. That's your first step, but that's on you, not us, right? That's not the American people can't fix that. That's on you. We don't want to fund Israel over America. I don't want to fund any foreign country when we're spending deficit money to do it. I don't want any foreign aid if we can't balance our budget. Balance our budget. If there's extra money, then we can spend it on foreign aid. I'm fine with that. And I support funding Israel. I support them if they're honest. I don't support them, guys like Netanyahu out there, doing the shady crap he's doing. But it's the shadiness that we got to get rid of, and this waste of money. I don't support buying Argentina beef. I want my farmers and my ranchers to get taken care of. Support American ranchers. You want to lower food prices? Fix the processing plant issue. That's the issue. It's not that we don't have enough meat. It's listen. Yes, the herd is down. The American herd is down. But guess what? It'll rebound real quick if demand's up, and if we can have access to proper processing. If we can, have local farmers. This is a manufactured crisis. There's no crisis. So, anyways, this is corruption. I don't want real ID. I don't want track and trace, but that's what we've got. We lost this election. We got shellacked because we're pushing crap we don't want. And I don't care if it's Donald Trump or who it is. It's not good. Trump needs to wake up. His Bill Barr-like Pam Bondi, DOJ, is garbage. They're not doing anything. Listen, I don't care about these garbage indictments that really aren't even that good that we've had for Bolton and Comey. I want to know about the current people, the people who are doing real issues. That's what I want to know. The people who are currently funding. I don't want Bill Gates at the damn White House. I want him in a small room being questioned. I want them investigated. It's great that we're talking about Soros now, but I still haven't seen anything. And I'll be honest with you, I sincerely doubt they're going to charge him with anything legit. It'll be some half-assed case that they'll lose, and they'll get headlines. Oh, yeah, see, we tried. We just couldn't do it, because they don't bother trying well. It's all corruption, folks. MAGA's seeing it. Maha can see that Bobby Kennedy's fighting as hard as he can, but clearly Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi, Pam Bondi represented Pfizer, Susie Wiles still, as far as I know, works with Mercury LLC, who represented Pfizer and Gabby and all sorts of others. I mean, they're not letting Bobby do what he can and should do. There would be no way that any of these COVID vaccines would be anywhere near the market if they were properly doing this. But Bobby's not allowed to follow real science. He's got to do incremental stuff. to try and slowly work his way in because these crooks are undermining him. MAGA sees it. Maha sees it. We're not coming out to vote for it. And guess what happens in the midterms? Midterms, we're going to get shellacked. You're going to have Democrat majorities, and Trump's going to get impeached. If Trump thinks he had legal problems before, he's got this term to fix things, and it ain't getting done. And if he thinks that the Democrats are going to forget what he's done, I got news for you. That guy is going to end up in more trouble. I mean, listen, this is me supporting Trump by saying that he needs to do some of these things because he's going to be in a world of shit otherwise. I don't know how else to say it. You can't pick these fights and then not win them. You got to be willing to fight till then. And he's picking the fight, but he ain't fighting until then. He keeps thinking he's going to negotiate his way out and get along with these people. These people are evil and they hate him. They're going to come after him. There's going to be retribution. And there is no third term for Trump. This is his last shot. And he's got until the midterms. And Mega Maha is not going to come out in the midterms if he doesn't start doing some stuff that Mega Maha want to see, and he ain't doing it. And someone needs to start saying this. So, you know what? All these conservative influencers that are sucking his something every single day instead of telling the truth aren't doing any favors. Mega and Maha are not happy. You can see it by the way this election worked out. Don't give me it's blue and blue. This is a whole nother level, what's going on right now. And we're going to get shellacked in the midterms unless there's some serious, we want action, not more words. All right, so last but not least, I want to hit tariffs. So we had the Supreme Court arguments on the tariffs. So the Emergency Economic Powers Act, right? So that's what Trump's doing to implement these tariffs. And it gives him the right to regulate trade. Folks, Trump should win this hands down. I like Trump's tariffs. I think they're useful. I don't like them all, and I don't like the way he does all of it, but I think he does a real good job with that. And honestly, he's doing it. I think if there's one area he's done good is some of these tariff things. I think he's done pretty good on. Listen, I looked at these arguments. It's interesting to see the left saying Trump doesn't have authority under emergency powers to do this, when the same people that are saying that now were the people that saying that Biden could do anything he wanted during the COVID emergency, which wasn't an emergency, and allowed him. I mean, we had all sorts of things going on with during COVID. Trade rules, this, that, and other. All sorts of things were shifted, changed, and altered. I mean, you could do anything you want under COVID, but they didn't mind Biden exercising emergency powers then, but they got all sorts of trouble with Trump exercising emergency powers now. Listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You either like emergency powers or you don't. I don't personally like it for anybody, but they're there, and Trump's just using what he's got. So deal with it. That's what the Supreme Court case is about. At the end of the day, the question is, does the power to regulate trade include the power to decide what tariffs should be there, and how could it not? And that's the foundation of trade. That's just foundational. So, maybe Congress should quit abdicating their job and delegating all this stuff to the executive branch if they don't like what's happening. That would be my solution. All right, guys. There's so much more happening, and I would love to get a full show, but like I said, I'm on the road. I got a lot of fighting to do today, a lot of bad guys to fight. Please support us at tomrenz.com. Check out men's hormone support from Global Healing, and make sure you givesendgo.com/RenzLaw, givesendgo.com/RenzLaw. I appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we will be back very soon.
Thank you for watching the Tom Renz Show. Join us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, putting an axe in the skull of tyranny.
The MAGA revolution in cryptocurrency is here, reclaiming financial freedom for every American. Tired of globalist banks and deep state control? Blockchain is our weapon for sovereignty. Be a step ahead with Animus AI technology. Ranked #1 worldwide, exclusively available through Block Trust IRA. But beware, the wild ride volatility and scams lurk. Yet, with Trump-era policies like the Genius Act, we're tokenizing prosperity for veterans and the heartland. Globalist elites are panicking as leftist-controlled banks scrabble in the dust as MAGA investors access revolutionary technology. Reclaim your freedom with Block Trust IRA.
Join the fight to protect your wealth. Go to TomRunsCrypto.com and talk to Block Trust IRA now.
Listen live to The Tom Renz Show Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern.